Three, two, one. Hey everyone, you're watching other episode of Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here's my co-host Stan the Man, and here's today's comic, Flash, The Flash, number 71, chapter 2 of Year 1 storyline. Joshua Williamson, writer, one of the more underrated writers, I believe, in comics and mainstream comics. If you haven't checked out Birthright, he does his own creator-owned series for Image. Check it out. The first trade paperback for Birthright you can get probably pretty cheap. Look for it on sale or something. It's highly worth it. Fantastic series. Made me go and collect everything. I liked it so much. I'm not really a Flash guy. I buy Flash, in case you don't know, in case you don't really follow the channel, whatever. I buy Flash for my best friend, his little girl. She's like 10. She's turning 10. And she likes the Flash. So I got him into comics, or introduced him into comics last year on New Comic Book Day. And she's like, oh, Flash. So I was like, you know what? I want to help encourage this idea, so I buy her Flash every 2 weeks. I'm going to be happy when DC goes to a monthly schedule again, because I can just buy them once a week. But I just buy them all, and I haven't read them. I know she'll let me read them at any time, but I'm just so backlogged in my own comics. And then this Year 1 storyline was coming out, and I was like, you know what? I gotta not miss this. This is the great entry point for anyone. You don't even have to know Flash at all. And, you know, the character's never grabbed me, but it's not because I don't want him to grab me. I don't necessarily think he's a stupid character. I don't have any problems with him. Super speedster character types have never interested me. Although all that I've known has been like through Marvel, and Flash is more. One of the things I'm actually becoming more and more interested with Flash is the whole Speed Force concept. He becomes more interesting, to me at least, when it's more than just he can run really fast. He taps into this force called the Speed Force, which allows him to accelerate beyond, I believe, even the speed of light, things like that, break the time barrier. He's got powers that are associated with speed. His primary manifestation of his power is running super fast and moving super fast, but that's not just the limitation. It's not like Quicksilver, right? Quicksilver can run a couple 100 miles an hour, and that's what he does. So it's like, to me, that's kind of boring. But when you add other facets to it, like with the Flash, it becomes interesting. Thanks, dogs. Appreciate that. Just trying to record here. So that being said, I read Flash Year 1, issue number 70. I did a review on it. I have read some Flash comics. Bats had challenged me to read a Jeff Johns series, and it was pretty okay. I enjoyed it. Jeff Johns is a master. I mean, he could write anything, and I would like it. I mean, he could probably write Miss Marvel, and I would like it. Actually, he could probably write Captain Marvel and make her good. That guy just understands comics. Fortunately for DC, he's over at DC. I don't think Marvel could ever really utilize him correctly. Anyways, I'm totally digressing. I'm not even going to get started on this. By the way, my friend Quirks on, Comic Quirks, call him Jimmy, after Jimmy Olsen, that's his nickname. He commented to me that Naomi's not canceled, it's just on hiatus. No, when you put a book on hiatus and you don't have a solicited return time like the Image books do, one of the books I collect, Die, it went on hiatus until it's coming back in August. Birthright's coming back in June. These books, they go on hiatus for a couple months, and they have a return date when they go. It's a couple months to take a break. And those books go on hiatus because they're creator-owned books. They don't have fill-in artists. So if these guys need to take a vacation or do something, they can't just replace themselves with other people like corporate comics like Marvel and DC. You know, if your favorite artist needs to take a break, they just put another person on the book for a couple issues, and then that's how it goes. That's why books go on hiatus. This book is not selling. It's under 20K. it's a brand new DC character. It's a hot thing. Arguably, up until issue number 5, it was the best book of the Wonder Comics. But it's still selling under $20K. No one really cares except for those few hipsters out there that are like, oh, Naomi's great. There's always this little squabbling minority of people screaming about how great these books are, but yet the books don't sell. So it's like either all these fans of these books are just pirating the book, or there's really not that many fans of the book, and people just like the idea that the book exists more than they actually like it. And I have a feeling a lot of people that praise Naomi and like, oh, Naomi's great, and Quirks is not one of them. But I have a lot of things they see like, oh, she fits our social agenda. I'm glad this book exists, so therefore I'm going to talk about it as if I'm a fan. But they don't actually read books. They don't care. So this book is canceled. And it may come back, but since it doesn't have a return date, that's a cancellation. I don't care if they want to call it a hiatus. It's canceled. And I don't think you're going to bring back a book that's selling under $20K and is on a downward trajectory. You don't bring that back. Well, unless you're Marvel, then you just fail upwards. All right, anyway, sorry for that diatribe. I try to avoid these things, but I can't help myself. So last we left off on year 1, Barry Allen, who's just recently discovered his powers, ran super fast, trying to test his limits out, and didn't realize that he could send himself through time, which he did. He went to the future and he met his future self, and now he's in this dark future with the turtle. And instantly, I'm like, okay, Josh, after you finish this year 1 story, DC Comics, you need to let Josh tell this story as a companion, the sequel. I want to see year whatever this year is, year 20, year end, this dark future. It's like the Terminator. When you see the Terminator, Kyle Reese comes back and he tells Sarah about his timeline in the future and what it's like. Every fan in the theater is like, I want to see that movie. And then we got Terminator Salvation, and it was like, oh, we got let down. So here we have old Barry saying, trust me. It's like, breathe, Neo, breathe. Barry's freaking out. No, this can't be. It's a dream. I don't know. I can't handle it. Run away. This is impossible. So Barry Allen at this point is an introvert, and he doesn't know how to handle things, and he doesn't like conflict, and all these things that don't really make him an admirable character, but are going to serve really well, since we know what he becomes, are going to serve really well to show like what he overcame to be this guy. He's not a Mary Sue. That's what's great. This is what I love about this character and old school traditional characters to begin with. They start off as characters that are not really not necessarily not likable, but they're not admirable. They're nothing to look up to. We're just like, oh, you're just a sniveling crybaby. You're a scaredy cat. But this is kind of how all of us are, whether we want to admit it or not. This is, to some extent. Maybe not, we have different traits, but we all aspire to be this, but we're really this. And watching Barry become this instead of this is what's going to make him an interesting character. Unlike previous character like this, she just is a god. Ta-da! I'm a god. I'm awesome. Look at me. Worship me. That's not at all. So Turtle rules the day, and they're coming after him, and old Flash is like, we got to get out of here. Run. And so they just have a lot of dialogue talking about, this, what they need to do, and he can't change the future, and it can't cause, paradoxes and stuff. And, the old Barry's very skilled, the new one's like, whoa, how'd you do that? And he's just, giving him little tips on how to use his powers. It's just real basic stuff. And the young Barry's doing things like, this all sounds insane. I don't even like leaving my lab. How could I ever be a superhero? Sorry, I can't tell you that. But I can tell you that this has happened before. You see, our life is a loop that can't be broken. If we were to create a time paradox, we could destroy all of the reality, and we can't take that risk. Understand? So here we are, right from the foundations, the very beginning, setting the foundations of Barry. This is important, you can't break time paradox. You can't use this power and fuck up things. Which is an important aspect to have into place, because otherwise you as a reader would be like, well, why don't you just run around time and fix things? Like Heroes in Crisis. Why don't you fix this crap? Well, we've established this. So old Flash asks young Flash a few questions just so he can understand if he's from the right reality. And so he's asked some questions, and then she's like, okay, Mom, was she murdered? But you don't know who did it, do you? Come on, that's all I needed to hear. Wait, if you know who killed Mom, you have to tell me. You and I have read the same comics, Barry. You know how dangerous it is to mess with time, no matter how bad it gets. You just got to keep moving forward and fighting every step of the way. And he's like, you see that tower? And he's talking about the turtle. Explains why the other superheroes don't get involved. Turtle's looking for him, so they're doing time, like jumps. If they do short bursts of speed, it keeps them off Turtle's radar somehow. And they walk kind of into a trap, because one of the things about Turtle and his men is they're slow, but they're patient. It's like, oh, we waited for you. And that's why Turtle was able to beat Old Flash. Spoiler, as I sit here and spoil the comic. And Barry let down his guard one time, and Turtle was just patient the whole time. Every time he's like, I underestimated Turtle. I thought he was a low, D-class hero, whatever, and then he was just waiting. He's biding his time the whole time until I made a mistake. And that's when Turtle won. He's like, okay, we got to fight. It's like, it'll be fun to fight side by side with another speedster. It's been far too long. Fight? What? I don't know how to fight. Shoot. Looks like it's just you and me, boys. I just want to take a moment here to point out, shoot. Not weird symbols because he's fake force cursing, which would actually kind of be appropriate to him to be like, fuck. It looks like it's you and me, boys. But even then, Josh Williamson, being a good writer, doesn't need to resort to that sort of stupidity. He just says, shoot, let's go. And that's fine. It's weird. Everyone who's a fan of comics is cool with this. It's only the postmodern nonsense people that don't even really care about comics to begin with. And the reason that they do this is they want to turn comics into something else. They like the idea of comics. They don't actually like the comics. So they need to transform them. It's like, imagine you're a little girl and you want to play with dolls, but the only thing you have are G.I. Joe toys available. So you play with the G.I. Joe toys, but you don't play with them like they're intended. You don't play G.I. Joe. You're not setting them. You're having little dress-up parties and different things, and you're using the G.I. Joes like dolls, like Barbie dolls or whatever. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with you as an individual doing that. But then imagine you grow up and you become a high-ranking, CEO of Hasbro, and you decide, we're going to, G.I. Joe is problematic. It's not letting girls in. It's not letting, we're going to turn G.I. Joe into Barbie because, so other people, like I did when I was a kid, I couldn't. No, that's the problem. And that's what they're doing. They don't like G.I. Joe, so they're turning it into Barbie. These people don't like, not Josh, the offending comics. These are creators who don't like comics, so they're turning it into the thing that they want instead. I hope that analogy made sense. I'm way digressing. So here we have Flash. He's like learning some of his powers and things. And old Flash is like, look, you don't have to fight, but you can still use your head. Use the science. And so that's like, Barry's like, oh, look out. Oh, shoot. I made a tornado. Not bad, kid. And he's like, I can already see what we need ahead. And so the whole time, this was an adventure to find the cosmic treadmill, which is always been a little hokey to me. But here we see Flash super fast, rebuilds it all. And he's explaining, like, look, we got to get you back in time, the right place and time, and that's important. And he does this long spiel about how, like, you have to make it, like, super precise, because even if you're off by a micro inch, you could misrepresent hundreds of years. So one of my critiques about this is he's explaining this Then he just hops Barry on the treadmill and says, run. It's like, you got to be super pinpoint accurate. I'm not really going to explain how, just run and hope for the best. So it was a little weird. It came off, this whole scene here came off really hocus pocusy. He's like, now run. And then the turtle guards are like, grab him. Oh no, Flash. Don't worry about me. Run. And we see him getting more determined. He's running. Run! As he's getting pulled away. Come on. And he's getting even more determined. And then now, like I said, this was a little bit hocus pocusy, as I described why, because you just have to suspend your disbelief. Some of the little nit criticisms I'm having are like, oh, how would that even work? You didn't even explain it. And this brings me to another risk of going off on a tangent. Oftentimes, you'll see me be very hypercritical of certain comics, especially like Bendis comics, because he puts all this nonsense in his book, and you're like, what? This reminded me as I'm reading this, and I'm like, this is all hocus pocusy and weird, and just like, oh, I gotta suspend my disbelief in how it happens. But here's the difference. When it's a good comic, when there's a plot that's actually being followed, like it's not just nonsense, when it's got good character development and emotion and heart for a character that you believe in, and it's not just a Mary Sue character, he's a character who's got to overcome his weaknesses and things like that, you're easily able to forgive these other things. But when the character is just trite nonsense and it's just trying to be self-impressed with its sitcom dialogue and constantly like, ha ha ha, like, and it's just baffling you with nonsense, comic after comic, then the story, it's not even a real story, it's just random things happening, and you realize, wait a second, does anything even matter in this book? And then something like this happens, then it's like hypercritical, then you're just like, this is bullshit. But when 90% of the comic book is fun and great, and it's got heart and character and things you believe in, and you run into like the hocus pocusy stuff, you're like, that's just comics. So some people have come to me and said, like, well, why are you like this with Bendis but not other people? I would, Quirks, as a matter of fact, has been one of those people who's questioned me and said, I think if this was a different writer, you'd treat it differently. And there's some truth to that. And I hope I just explained why that is. It's not because necessarily prejudicial, it's because of the work. I have been extremely fair with Bendis, and I have given Bendis some strong reviews. But now that Bendis has exposed himself to me, now, after Man of Steel, and after almost a dozen issues of 2 different Superman comics, of nonstop nonsense and self-repressed BS, I can't let things like this in his books slide like I can in Josh Williams, because everything else is great. And this is just comic hocus pocus, cosmic treadmill, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's fun. Just let it go. Like, kids would not even care anyway. Kids would be like, ooh, cool, cosmic treadmill goes in time. Like, it's, but you see what I'm saying? I'm going to go over, talk about going in a time loop. I'll just be over like a broken record. So boom, he pops out in present day time. Slide into it, he says. Oh, I'm home. Oh, wow, what the hell just happened? Oh, and there was a really good part. Where was it? Yeah. But you got to listen to me. Remember what our mom said. And you know what? Next time you see Iris, you say yes, damn it. That choked me up a little bit. Even though I'm not a huge Flash fan, I know just a touch of the history, and that the old man being like the regrets, and I know just me kind of being an older guy, just and the regrets I have in my life, being able to talk to your younger self. You say yes, damn it. It was choking me up just thinking about it. And if you don't feel it, read the book, because I skimmed past all the dialogue and everything, so it's not going to come across as well with me just explaining it as much as immersing yourself in the story. So Barry gets back and he's like, oh sheesh, well, I'm never going to run again. I can't. So he's like kind of scarred and scared, and you're just like, oh geez. And he goes into the science, and he's thinking about using his powers and what he should do, and should he make a treadmill, should he stop, and he's got a date with Iris. So he's late, and he can't stop shaking. And then he sees her sitting at a table. Extra large latte, please, with a triple shot of espresso. So the usual then. Iris. And immediately he stops shaking. And I was just like, oh man, that is, I know it seems simple. It is simple. But it's these simplicities that a lot of lesser writers can't grasp. Sometimes simple is better. And being able to tell this, it comes off so, to me, it comes off so emotional and so true without being sappy. You know, it's not overly dramatic. It's just a simple sign that she's the one. Right? Without having to say it, show, don't tell. And I was just like, damn. Hi, Iris, it's me, Barry Allen. Your date for coffee. No, and he's like kind of rehearsing his lines. And then all of a sudden a car swings more and he almost gets hit. And he's like, dang, lucky it didn't hit me. There's someone's robbing Central City Trust. And he looks over and sees Iris. And he's like, what should I do? And then, how dare you? Oh my God. And it's Turtle, the young version of Turtle. And so then he's got 3 choices. What does he do? And then he's thinking to himself, like, if I stop Turtle now, that future I'm afraid of can't ever happen. And so this is potentially swinging him into action, but he still can't decide what to do. And then all of a sudden, Iris is coming in, potentially to get her story. I don't know, but he says, Iris thinks this is just another story. Look at her, no powers, and she runs right into the crazy, unafraid. She's awesome. You may go now. And Turtle's doing his thing, and then a car almost hits Iris, and then Flash uses his power. I can't tell if time is slowing down or because of my powers. Or because I'm about to die. End of the line, Turtle. And I just love, like, her being the catalyst of kicking in his decisions. He's stuck. It's like, what do I do? Do I go on a date with her and don't ignore the future? Do I stop the criminals robbing the bank? Do I stop Turtle? Oh shit, she's in trouble. And instinct just kicks in, and now the choice has been made for him. What the hell am I doing? And end of chapter 2, Hard Knocks. Fantastic. Really enjoyed this comic. Even more than issue 1. Issue 1 was decent. This got me in the feels a couple of times, which I can really appreciate. When you put year 1 on your comic, that is lofty expectations because, you know, I believe Batman was the very first comic to do the whole year 1 thing. Frank Miller kind of coined that, and everyone since has been trying to do, year 1 comics. And so everyone is obviously expecting Batman year 1, except with the Flash or what have you. That's easy to do, but it's not really fair. Batman year 1 is one of the greatest comics ever written. I don't expect this to be the greatest comic ever written, but I do expect it to be a good comic, and it is exactly that. I am very much enjoying this. I don't want to overpraise it because it's not perfect. You can see the art yourself as I'm, doing the review. It's either going to appeal to you or it's not. I feel like it adequately tells the story. I don't see any problems with miscommunicating. The layouts are not confusing. It's all really, I think, going to come down to the stylistic appeal, which this is very stylistic art. So some people, it may come off, unappealing. I don't know. I enjoy it. I really do also enjoy the renditions of Old Flash. So yeah, this is a 2 thumbs up from me. It's a rare 2 thumbs up. Not every comic gets that. I recommend picking this up and trying it out yourself. I believe it's a 5 or a 6 issue arc. Yeah, it's not terribly long. Treat it like a miniseries if you're not already a Flash fan, and then to see from there. Like, you got your year 1 story, and did you like it enough to keep going as a Flash fan? Because Josh Williamson writes the main book. And another thing, I want to praise this. I want to praise DC for not making this a Flash miniseries year 1, because they love to do that nowadays. Everything has got to exploit the fans with extra money. No, if you're a Flash fan, you don't have to buy a separate Flash book to get this. It's just right in your Flash series. And if you're not a Flash fan, you pick up issue 70, read year 1, and then you can stop and treat it like a miniseries. And if it didn't fully grab you, that's fine. You can move on. But if it does, you just keep picking up the book afterwards, and maybe Flash numbers go up, and with our dollar, voting with our dollar, we get the good books to succeed, and these bad books is to fail. So I just want to promote good books. I hope you enjoy this book. If you're not enjoying this book, tell me why. I'd be interested to hear. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. It's time for another Jail 8 webcomic, number 36. Yeah, it's number 36, trust me, by Yale Stewart. Your call, Lex. Take your hand off me, or I take it off for you. Please, Diana, we both know that you... Ring, 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 ring. You hear that? That's the end of the recess bell. It means playtime is over. Let's go. And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, we get saved by a girl. Yeah. Isn't she wonderful? Oh my gosh!